I never thought a text message could change my life so completely. But there I was, staring at my phone, reading words I couldn't quite believe. "I'm blocking you for a week so you learn to appreciate me." My girlfriend of a year and a half just stood there, looking at me like she'd delivered some kind of knockout punch. And maybe in her mind she had. But something inside me, something that had been bending and bending for months, finally snapped. Not in anger, not in rage, just in this cold, clear moment of absolute clarity. I looked up at her, and I said the words that would set everything in motion. Take a month. I'm 27 years old, and I'd been with this woman, this 25-year-old force of chaos, for what felt like both forever and no time at all. We'd moved in together 8 months ago. My apartment, my lease, my life that I'd carefully built, and she'd just sort of folded herself into it. At first, it was good, actually. It was better than good. It was exciting and passionate and full of all those things you think you want when you're falling for someone. But lately, lately it had been different. These games, these manipulation tactics that started small and just kept escalating. I didn't even see them clearly until that Tuesday. That stupid, ordinary Tuesday that turned into the moment everything changed. We'd been arguing. I can barely remember what started it. Something so small, so insignificant that it shouldn't have mattered. I think I forgot to text her back for 2 hours. 2 hours. I was in a meeting at work, phone on silent, doing my actual job. But when I finally checked my phone, there were 17 messages. Each one progressively more angry, more accusatory, building into this narrative where I was this horrible boyfriend who didn't care about her, who never made her a priority, who was probably cheating, or at least thinking about it. I got home, and she was already wound up, already pacing around the apartment like a caged animal looking for a fight. "You never prioritize me," she started yelling before I even got my shoes off. "I'm always the one making effort. Always the one who cares. You just coast through this relationship like I'm some kind of afterthought." I tried to explain. I really did. I told her I was in a work meeting, that my phone was on silent, that it wasn't personal. "You always have an excuse," she shot back. And there was this look in her eyes, this wild, desperate look that I'd been seeing more and more lately. "It's not an excuse," I said, trying to keep my voice level, trying to be reasonable. "It's literally what happened. I was in a conference room with my boss and 3 clients. I couldn't be on my phone." But she wasn't hearing me. She never really heard me anymore. She just heard whatever narrative she'd already constructed in her head, and my actual words were just noise she had to talk over. "You know what?" she said, and her voice dropped into this scary calm. "I'm done. I'm blocking you for a week. Maybe then you'll learn to appreciate what you have." I just stared at her. The audacity of it, the sheer manipulation of the tactic hit me all at once. This wasn't the first time she'd done something like this. The silent treatments, the threats to leave, the dramatic gestures designed to make me panic and chase and prove my devotion. But blocking me for a week? To teach me a lesson like I was some kind of child who needed punishment? "You heard me," she continued, pulling out her phone, finger hovering over my contact like it was a weapon she was about to deploy. "I'm blocking your number. You won't be able to contact me for 7 days. Use that time to think about how you treat me." She was dead serious. Standing there in my living room, in my apartment, threatening me with silence like it was supposed to devastate me, and something inside me just went quiet. Not angry, not hurt, just done. Completely, utterly done. "Make it a month," I said. My voice was calm. Too calm, the kind of calm that comes when you've already made a decision and nothing can change it. She blinked. Confusion flickered across her face. "What?" she asked, like she hadn't heard me correctly. "A week isn't enough," I repeated, looking right at her. "Make it a full month. I need that much time to really reflect." I watched her face cycle through emotions. Confusion first, then this flicker of uncertainty, then determination as she convinced herself this was still part of the game, that I was calling her bluff but would break down in a few days. "Fine," she said, chin up, defiant. "A month, then. Maybe you'll actually learn your lesson." "Sounds good," I replied, and I meant it. Every word. She blocked me right there. I watched her do it. Watched her finger tap the screen with this flourish of finality. Then she grabbed her purse, threw some things into an overnight bag, and announced she was staying at her friend's place for a few days to let me think about things, to let me stew in my loneliness and realize what I was losing. The door slammed behind her, and I stood there in the sudden silence of my apartment. For maybe 30 seconds, I just stood there, letting the reality of what had just happened sink in. Then I pulled out my phone and got to work. Here's the thing people need to understand. This apartment was mine. Completely mine. Lease in my name only. Furniture I'd bought before I ever met her. Kitchen stuff I'd accumulated over years of living alone, TV and couch and everything that made this place a home. All mine. She'd moved in with me, not the other way around. She'd brought some things, sure, clothes and shoes, and those decorative pillows she insisted would make the place feel more like ours. That weird diffuser thing that made everything smell like fake lavender. Books and makeup and all the little pieces of her life that had gradually invaded my space. But legally, officially, she was just a guest who'd worn out her welcome. I called a storage facility that night, found one I'd seen advertised, one of those places with the orange signs and climate-controlled units. Got a 5x10 space for $89 a month. First month free with a promo code I found online. Perfect. Then I started packing. Everything that was hers, I packed. Every single thing. Clothes from my closet and dresser. All those outfits she'd squeezed in next to mine. Toiletries from the bathroom, the expensive shampoo she insisted on, the makeup that covered half the counter. Books from the shelves, decorations from the walls, those throw pillows from the couch. The diffuser, the framed photos she'd put up. Everything. It took me about 6 hours, working through the night while she was at her friend's place, probably expecting me to be sitting in the dark, missing her, realizing the error of my ways. I worked methodically, room by room, boxing everything up, labeling boxes so she'd be able to find things. Because I'm not a monster. I wasn't trying to destroy her stuff or make it hard for her. I was just taking her at her word. She wanted a month away. She got a month away. By 3 a.m, everything was packed. Boxes stacked in my living room, garbage bags full of clothes, her entire existence in my apartment reduced to containers ready for transport. Thursday morning, I went to U-Haul, rented a van for $39, 4-hour rental, loaded everything up, drove to the storage facility, and unloaded it all into her unit. I organized it too. Put all the clothes on the left side, boxes of books and personal items stacked neatly on the right, left a clear path down the middle so she could access everything when the time came. By 2 p.m, my apartment was completely clear of her presence. It was like she'd never been there, like the last 8 months had been erased. And I was back to being just me in my space. It felt good. It felt right. Then I called a locksmith. $120 to change the locks, but worth every penny. She still had a key, and I wasn't taking any chances. When the guy finished and handed me the new keys, I felt this wave of relief wash over me. This was really happening. I was really doing this. Friday, I went to my bank and opened a new checking account. She didn't have access to my money, but she knew my account number, had used it to send me money on Venmo before. Better safe than sorry. I transferred my direct deposit, moved my automatic payments, created a clean financial break. Every step felt like reclaiming pieces of myself I'd let slip away. The weekend was weird. Quiet in a way my apartment hadn't been in months. I cleaned everything, top to bottom, scrubbed away any trace of the drama and chaos that had become normal, rearranged furniture, made the space mine again, and I felt good. Really, genuinely good. No walking on eggshells. No wondering what minor thing would trigger the next fight. No manipulation games, just peace. On Saturday, one of her friends texted me. "Hey, she says you're ignoring her texts, not cool." I stared at the message, almost laughed. They didn't know she'd blocked me, that this whole thing was her idea. I didn't respond. It wasn't my job to explain her games to her friends. Monday rolled around, and I realized I'd completed week 1 of the month-long lesson, and I felt great. Better than I'd felt in months. The apartment was calm, I was sleeping better, working better, existing better. No random accusations landing on me like bombs. No having to defend normal human behavior like being in a work meeting. Just normalcy. By the end of week 2, something crystallized in my mind. I didn't want her to come back. This wasn't a break, this was freedom. This was what my life could be without constant drama. And I liked it. I liked it a lot. Week 3, I started seeing someone new. A woman from work, actually. Nothing serious at first, just coffee, but it felt easy, natural. We talked about normal things. She laughed at my jokes without analyzing them for hidden meaning. She didn't test me or play games or manufacture drama to feel loved. It was just simple and good, and I realized how much I'd been missing, simple and good. Day 28 came. Technically 3 days before the month was up, but I should have known she couldn't last. My phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. Just 3 words. "Do you miss me?" I knew immediately who it was. She'd unblocked me early, couldn't help herself. Probably expected me to be devastated, desperate, ready to beg her to come back. I looked at that message for a long moment, thinking about everything that had led to this point. Then I typed out 2 things. First, the address of the storage facility. Second, the access code to her unit, 4782. Then I wrote, "Your stuff is in Unit 37, paid through the end of next month. After that, it's your responsibility. We're done." And I blocked her number. Blocked her on Instagram, Snapchat, everything. Every single connection, severed in one systematic sweep. 3 minutes later, my phone started ringing. Different number. I didn't answer. A voicemail notification popped up. I didn't listen. Then the texts started flooding in from unknown numbers. "Are you serious right now? This is insane. You can't just throw me out. We need to talk about this." Each message more desperate, more angry, more manipulative. And I blocked every single number as they came in, one after another, like playing whack-a-mole with her attempts to drag me back into the chaos. That was 5 days ago now, and I haven't heard from her since yesterday. But I've heard from other people. Her friends, her sister, even people I barely know. All with the same message: I'm terrible, I'm heartless. I kicked her out with no warning, I'm a monster. None of them know the truth. None of them know she initiated the block. None of them know she'd been doing manipulative stuff like this for months. The silent treatments that could last days. The threats to leave every time I did something she didn't like. The dramatic gestures designed to make me chase her, prove my love, demonstrate my devotion through groveling. I'm not defending myself to them, I'm not explaining. Because it's not my circus anymore, these aren't my monkeys. They can believe whatever story she's selling. I know the truth. My apartment is peaceful now. I'm sleeping through the night without anxiety. The woman from work and I are getting coffee again tomorrow, and it feels like the start of something healthy. Something equal, something real. I don't feel guilty. Maybe I should. Maybe someone in my position is supposed to feel guilty for moving on so quickly, for being so cold and efficient about ending things. But I don't. I really don't. Because she wanted to play games. She wanted to manipulate me into begging for her. She wanted to teach me a lesson about appreciating her. And instead, she taught me that I didn't need her, that I was better off without her, that the life I had before she moved in, the peace and simplicity and calm, was worth protecting. She played a stupid game and she won a stupid prize. And I'm done playing. 2 weeks passed after that initial fallout, and the harassment didn't stop. It just evolved. Her friends had been relentless, adding me to a group chat I never asked to be part of. 5 of her girlfriends, all texting at once, creating this wall of accusations that lit up my phone at all hours. "You need to apologize," they wrote. "She's devastated. How could you be so cruel?" The messages piled up, each one more dramatic than the last, like they were competing to see who could make me feel worse. I responded once, just once, wanted to give them the facts they clearly didn't have. She blocked me for a month to teach me a lesson. I used that time to move on. Her choice, her consequences. The response was immediate. "That's not what happened," they insisted. "She was trying to make you appreciate her. You were supposed to fight for the relationship." And there it was, the fundamental disconnect. They actually believed that blocking someone, manipulating them, playing mind games, was a reasonable relationship strategy, that I was supposed to respond to punishment with devotion. I left the group chat and blocked all 5 numbers. Done. Finished. Not engaging anymore. But her sister showed up at my apartment the next week. Wednesday afternoon, I was working, from home, in the middle of a Zoom call when my doorbell rang. I muted myself, went to the door, and there she was. Her sister, looking furious, arms crossed, radiating aggression. "We need to talk about what you did to my sister," she said the moment I opened the door. "No, we don't," I replied. "You kicked her out with no warning." She pushed forward, voice rising. She had to scramble to find a place to stay. "She left on her own," I corrected, keeping my voice level. "Said she was staying with a friend. I just made sure she had a place for her stuff when she was ready to figure things out." "You changed the locks," she accused, like this was some kind of gotcha moment. "My apartment. My locks," I said simply. "She lived there," she shot back. "Not on the lease, not paying rent. She was a guest who wore out her welcome." Her face went red, that family anger I'd seen in my ex flashing across her features. "You're heartless," she spat. "She loved you." "She loved controlling me," I corrected. "There's a difference. We're done here." I closed the door. She stood outside for another 5 minutes, knocking, yelling about how I'd pay for this, how I'd regret treating her sister this way, how karma would come for me. Eventually, security from the building came by and asked her to leave. I watched through the peephole as she finally stormed off, still muttering threats. My ex tried a different approach after that. Got one of her guy friends to reach out, someone I'd actually liked when we'd all hung out together. "Hey man, can we grab a beer?" he texted. "Want to talk about what happened?" I agreed. Figured I owed him a conversation since he'd always been decent to me, never participated in the drama. We met up at a bar Thursday night. He got right to it, no preamble. "She's saying you blindsided her. That one day everything was fine. Next day, all her stuff was gone." I laid out the whole story for him. The blocking, the teach me a lesson game, the month timeline that she set. how I just took her at her word and used that time to move on. He was quiet for a minute, processing. "She blocked you first?" he finally asked. Yep, for a month. That was her demand, I just agreed to it." "She's not telling people that part," he said, and I could see the realization dawning on him. "Of course not. She's playing victim," I replied. "It's what she does." He took a long drink of his beer. "Look, I get it. But did you have to put all her stuff in storage? That's pretty cold." "What should I have done?" I asked. "Left it piled in my apartment for a month, waiting for her to maybe come back." She made it clear she was leaving. I made it clear she could take her time figuring out her next steps. "She wants you back," he said, and there was this pleading note in his voice like he was hoping I'd make this easier for everyone. "She's willing to forgive you." I actually laughed, couldn't help it. Forgive me for what? For respecting her decision to block me for a month? "For being petty about it," he tried. "I wasn't petty, I was practical. And no, I don't want her back." "Tell her we're done." For real this time. He tried to argue more, tried to convince me that relationships take work, that everyone makes mistakes, that maybe we could talk it out. But I shut it down, paid for my beer, and left. I got a text from her later that night. A new number, of course, because I'd blocked all her others. "I know I messed up, but we can fix this. I love you. Please just talk to me." I didn't respond. Just added that number to the blocked list that kept growing longer. The woman from work and I had been on 3 dates by then, and she was great. Actually great. Normal, stable, didn't play mind games or test me to see how much I'd tolerate. When I told her the whole story, keeping it vague at first, she just said, "Good for you for having boundaries." That's when I knew I'd made the right choice. My ex's manipulation had become so normalized in that relationship that I'd stopped seeing it as manipulation. It was just how things were, how she operated, and I'd adapted to it like you adapt to living with constant noise. You don't realize how loud it is until it stops. The blocking thing wasn't new, I realized. She'd done it before, blocked me for a day or two, then unblocked me expecting me to be desperate and apologetic, ready to do whatever it took to get back in her good graces. This time, I just didn't play along, didn't follow the script, and it broke her. Meanwhile, I found out through mutual friends that she'd been staying with her parents. They apparently weren't thrilled about it. She'd been telling them I kicked her out without warning, that I was abusive and controlling, painting this picture where she was the victim of my cruelty. One of those friends reached out to warn me. "Her dad's talking about coming to have a word with you. Just a heads up." Great. Looking forward to that conversation, I thought. But I wasn't scared. I had the truth on my side. I had screenshots and timestamps and a timeline that proved everything I'd said. Let him come. A month later, he did. Last Tuesday, 6 in the evening, I was making dinner when the doorbell rang. Older guy, maybe 60, with that stern father look that's supposed to intimidate. "You the one dating my daughter?" he asked. "Dated. Past tense," I corrected. "And you are?" "Her father. We need to talk about how you treated her." I could have closed the door, probably should have, but I was tired of this narrative following me around. Tired of being painted as the villain in a story where I'd done nothing but respect someone's stated wishes. "Come in," I said. "Let's talk." He seemed surprised, but followed me inside. I gestured to the couch and he sat, still looking stern but less aggressive now that we were face to face. "Want to hear my side?" I asked. "I know what happened," he started. "You kicked her out, changed the locks, put her stuff in storage like she was trash. Did she tell you why?" I pulled out my phone, found the screenshots I'd saved. The text where she said she was blocking me for a week to teach me a lesson. The one where I said, make it a month. The one where she agreed, saying maybe I'd learn. I handed him the phone and watched him read. His expression changed. She blocked you first, he said, and it wasn't a question anymore. Yep, for a month. That was her idea, her decision, her timeline. He sat back, looking at me with new eyes. She said you were ignoring her, that she had to block you to get your attention. She lied, I said simply. He was quiet for a long moment, and I could see him processing, reconciling the story he'd been told with the evidence in front of him. She's done this before, he finally said. To her last boyfriend and the one before that. The blocking thing, the manipulation, the tests. Her mother and we've tried to talk to her about it. Well, she found someone who doesn't play along, I replied. He looked around the apartment. This is yours? The lease? All mine. She moved in 8 months ago. Never paid rent, never on the lease. Just overstayed her welcome. She's telling everyone you kicked her out with no warning, he said, and there was this tired note in his voice now. I gave her a month, her idea, I just took it seriously. He rubbed his face, suddenly looking older, more worn down. I'm sorry for coming here like this, for what she's put you through. I appreciate that, I said, and I meant it. She's still at our house, he continued. Keep saying you'll come around, that you'll apologize and beg her to come back. Not happening, I said firmly. I didn't think so. He stood up, extended his hand. I shook it. For what it's worth, I think you did the right thing. She needs to learn that actions have consequences. He left, and I stood there kind of stunned. Did not expect that outcome. Did not expect her father to hear the truth and actually believe it, but it wasn't over. 2 days later, she showed up at my workplace. I don't know how she got past.